At Scania also we have a program where we train female drivers because as we say, transport is the bloodstream of society, so you need water, medicines, food and so on to be supplied to people. But most of the men are out in the war, so there are lack of drivers, and so many proud women I met there that they say, wow, now I can contribute to our society because it must go on and we must have a possibility to survive and end this war. So also being at the Fenatran and seeing the Pro Driver app where the driver you can gamify how the driver can become better and save fuel and thereby decarbonize better its journeys. And also in between these ends, I'm super proud that we are also doing a lot of acquisitions and new startups, how you can, for example, try out electrification with a business model where the customer doesn't have to pay the full vehicle because it's 2.5 or 3 times more expensive than to buy a diesel vehicle. What can be more interesting than to be in that and see how we can work with this to make it more efficient for people to have their goods transported or themselves transported and in a sustainable way. So I think that it's I had never thought about it, but it's really one of the most amazing places to be.
Esse é o podcast das pessoas e produtos que movimentam a minha, a sua, as nossas vidas.
It's a great honor that we received today one of the most inspiring leaders in the field of sustainability. Camilla Dewoon is Executive Vice President and Head of Communications and Sustainability at Scania. She's responsible for driving sustainable transport initiatives and technological innovations. Camilla stands out for her commitment to integrate diverse perspectives and create a culture that supports collective growth with the organization. Today, we will dive into her journey and explore her vision for the future of sustainability and leadership. Camilla, welcome to Pessoas e Produtos.
Warm thank you for having me. It's a pleasure for me to be here.
Camilla, I know that you are having a busy schedule in Brazil this week due to Fenatran Fair. So thank you for finding time to record this show.
Of course, it's a priority to meet all different stakeholders. So this is a fantastic opportunity. So thank you.
So Camilla, I like to start conversations by getting to know people. What's your story? How did you get here in terms of family, influence, and education?
Yes, I think that I'm one of the odd ones into the industry. My father was an artist and my mother a therapist for anorectic young people. So I'm coming from a family that's a lot of culture, creativity, and human interaction. Not at all connected to the industry. But I was curious, and I think that I was brought up to be curious. And one thing that I wanted to really get to know what is an industry like, because you know that the world needs all the industries, but it has been so long from my own childhood. So therefore, after in the end of the university, I asked to write my thesis for Scania in Sweden. So that was the entrance, and it was supposed to only be a thesis, and it was actually regarding human interaction with the industry. And I'm coming from the business side, so how can you actually influence your business stakeholders by bringing them to the industry? And there I fell in love with the culture of Scania. I stayed on, and I will actually celebrate 25 years with Scania now. So it's been a fantastic long journey, and I think that for me it is not only the culture; it was the starting point. Really respectful culture where you benefit from inviting and having an inclusion for all the different perspectives and minds. But then I got very, very interested in the business as such, because the business of transport is really the bloodstream of society. And what can be more interesting than to be in that and see how we can work with this to make it more efficient for people to have their goods transported or themselves transported and in a sustainable way. So I think that it's I had never thought about it, but it's really one of the most amazing places to be.
Great. So you have had an impressive international career at Scania. What's inspiring you to work in different countries?
For me, it is maybe coming back to the curiosity, but I believe that we become so much stronger by different perspectives. And we learn so much more, both about ourselves, but also what the world needs by listening, being present, and trying to understand more cultures, more people, and more parts of the different ends of the world. So therefore, it has driven me always to find out, to be close to people, to interact with cultures, because I think that I become better and I learn more and I can contribute more in that way.
Okay, in terms of sustainability, Scania has been a leader in sustainability worldwide. What are the latest innovations in sustainability transportation that you are most excited about?
There are so many. And I think one key for me being in this industry and also being with Scania is that we try to take really the scope of the whole ecosystem. So what makes me most proud, I think, is that every day we are working with suppliers of new material. For example, we are investing in green steel, we're investing in battery, we are investing in everything we can do on the supply side, but moving that into also exactly what the customer needs here and now. So also being at the Fenatran and seeing the Pro Driver app where the driver you can gamify how the driver can become better and save fuel and thereby decarbonize better its journeys. And also in between these ends, I'm super proud that we are also doing a lot of acquisitions and new startups, how you can, for example, try out electrification with a business model where the customer doesn't have to pay the full vehicle because it's 2.5 or 3 times more expensive than to buy a diesel vehicle, but with a pay-per-use model and so on. So I think that for me, it's not the big things maybe, because they will happen anyhow. And we are part of that, of the driving, all the different biodiesel, biofuel, biomethane, and all the different kind of, let's say, technologies that we need, autonomous, and so on. But it's also the small things in between, in the whole value chain.
I remember a project that I saw at Scania some years ago, that Connected Fleets project. How does Scania implement the connected fleets to improve fuel efficiency and sustainability, if it works indeed or not?
Well, that's a super good question, because that's also one area where we work a lot and we try to find different new, let's say, applications of the connected vehicles. And we have more than 600,000 connected vehicles. And what we do is, first of all, you can work with the vehicle performance as such. So we can be more predictive and know how it's operating and how the vehicle is feeling, let's say, if it needs more services or it's repaired. So that's one side. The other side is that you can also connect for the fleet. And as you probably know also, the logistical system in the world is too inefficient. So even if in the parts of the world where we see quite efficient filling grade of all the trucks that you see, it's only up to 50%. So 50% of all the trucks you see or more is going empty. And that is so inefficient also for the sustainability point of view. So really the connectivity can also help all the operators to become more efficient to plan. To pick up loads, to plan the routing and wait for the next batch of logistics that is coming. So I think that is also one to make the logistics more efficient. And then, of course, with connected vehicles, you can do a lot more also towards the driver, to interact with the vehicle. but also on the distance to have the fleet operator to communicate with the person and so on. So there's so many different angles of the connectivity. And in the end, of course, you can go fully autonomous also with connected vehicles. So also here many aspects and angles of connectivity, and it will be key going forward for the efficient transports and the sustainability.
Camilla, I want to explore a topic regarding leadership insights. You have held many leadership positions. What leadership qualities do you believe are most important for guiding teams during times of innovation and change like we are living now?
That's a very good question, and probably has multiple answers as well. But what I believe is, first of all, I believe that you have to have a clear transparency with everyone you work with, and you have to make sure that it's really a team that has, let's say, the confidence in what you do, and that you are also exploring together where you're aiming at. Because I think that no one really knows exactly how the journey will look like, maybe not even the end state of the transports that we're transforming, but everybody can contribute. So as long as you're using the possibility and the minds and the brilliance of all the people that you're working with, it makes people more comfortable. So never a one-man show or one-woman show, but really using and exploring together. I think that's building the trust and the confidence for change. But then it's also, of course, basic needs that we all do have. So we can feel comfortable about what is my role at this moment, what is my mandate, what is my contribution to this. So I feel that I'm part of it. I know where we are aiming at, what we're exploring, what role, but also what is my contribution in this. And in the end, it's about how you treat people and how you get an open atmosphere, I would say. Trust, confidence in a working team. That's really the basics. And also to try to demystify that things are changing, because as we know, things are changing around you all the time, and it will not be stable. So how can you do that in an undramatic way to be part of it?
Yes. I was thinking, related to leadership in sustainability, that how do you balance the short business goals, because you have short business goals for sure, with long-term sustainability targets?
And that's also, it's a balance that must be, because as we see it right now, of course, all the diesel vehicles must now be the ones that are supporting to invest in the future. So you must have a good balance. But I think as long as you're doing whatever you can also on that side, on the say, we want to be part of the solution for a sustainable transport system, but we can already work with today's business. So we must sell the diesel vehicles that are the ones that are asked for. But we can, for example, work with biodiesel. We can work with, as I said, the pro driver to make the drivers more efficient. So you feel that your long-term ambition is also, let's say, influencing today's business. So then have a clear mind that we never, let go of our long-term goal. You have to defend in yourself that you do focus on today's business in order to get where we want to be, and feel comfortable about that.
So another topic that I want to explore regarding biofuels, specifically here in Brazil. This is an important topic for us here in Brazil, biofuels. How do you see the potential of biofuels in a global transportation?
It is really one key that we need to explore and enforce, not only in Brazil, but Brazil has the greatest opportunity of all countries in the world, I think, to be the first one to both produce and use and have this as part of the ecosystem of transport. But this is part of the solution, because so many parts of the world, I would say all parts of the world, are not ready to bring on electrification in full scale. Even if we at Scania, and I believe that the end game will be fully electric, but it will take long time for all applications, all regions of the world. And what the beauty of biofuels is really that exactly what we are striving for is to use, for example, the waste that we have from different operations that will continue to feed the bloodstream of the society. It is going around then, so you really get a loop of the material and reusage of the same material that is already used. So it's so beautiful, and it can work in so many parts of the world, and so many different ways also to produce biofuels. So you can explore different ones. So this is one really key, and I'm happy that it is happening in Brazil, but I also would push it to happen faster and more.
So one personal topic aspect regarding Ukraine. I know that you recently visited Ukraine. Can you share this experience with us and how it influenced you?
Oh, yes. That was a really touching visit. We did together with some politicians and business people. We were visiting to see what more can we do to support Ukraine. And very emotional to see how people have to adapt and what they do in order to support the country in everything that is possible. So I met with a lot of business people, for example, and how they have changed from, for example, being in retail, now going into solar energy, because really the problem is larger in the energy supply than in retail. At Scania also we have a program where we train female drivers, because as we say, transport is the bloodstream of the society, so you need water, medicines, food and so on to be supplied to people. But most of the men are out in the war, so there are lack of drivers, and so many proud women I met there, that they say, wow, now I can contribute to our society, because it must go on and we must have a possibility to survive and end this war. So one takeaway that I really have is that I think that the world, unfortunately, is losing out on solidarity. But there you could see that it's really coming back when you need it. And I hope that would influence more parts of the world to show solidarity towards each other. I saw it really firsthand there by the people fighting every day to both survive and support the country to end the war.
So it's very curious, because here in Brazil, we feel as we are too far from the war to Ukraine. And I visited Sweden last week. And yeah, I visited Södertälje as well. It's a very impressive factory. So, and talking with my Swedish friends in Sweden, I can feel how the war in Ukraine are impacting all the people around there. It's very, very impressive, to be honest.
No, it is very touching, and you think about it every day. Really, it's very close by to us, and then. Sweden has not been in war for 200 years. So, I mean, for us, it's really scary, but it's also important that we do what we can to support. And another initiative that we do is to try to train people that are escaping, that needs to coming from the regions where you need to escape, to try to get them into the business in Sweden in different ways, so they can have a normal life and their children can go to school and so on. So we are very involved in the society of Ukraine in many ways.
So there's a question that we make in this show regarding impact zone. What is impact zone? Impact zone is the area where you feel you make the biggest impact in your life, in society, in the world. What is your impact zone, Camilla?
Well, I think that I bring in a more human touch to business, and also with the mind always to do something better for the planet. So with those two in combination, I know I cannot do everything, but every day I can have a small impact on somebody or something. And that is what I'm trying to say to people around me. You cannot change the world alone. But every step you take that pushes the things in the right direction, that's really important for us. So I try, but you have to be humble and realize that you're not more than you are, and you're a small part of the world. But I think it also gives me a satisfaction, and I think that's important for me as well. That I get energy, and by having people around me that I see flourish, and that growth all the time. So that's part, if I can contribute in any way for having people to grow, to be more independent, to drive the things in their way, that's really the treasure of every day.
Okay, so Camilla, thank you for sharing your incredible journey and insights with us. Thank you for participating for this show, Camilla.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure being here.
Episódio editado por Retenção Multimídia.